All right, welcome everybody. Glad to have you with us here on this. It's a Wednesday that I'm doing this, but for this week with the Vegas Sportscast. Hockey all the time. Vegas Golden Knights stuff to talk about here in town. It's been the storm is growing, man. It is fun to see how quickly this is going. I'm Ron Futrell. Glad to have you with us here, and let's see. Start with the Vegas Golden Knights. Finally, the schedule. Hey, the NHL came out with a schedule for the round 2. So go out. The Knights go out, sweep the Kings. The Sharks go out, sweep the Ducks. 4 games apiece. And they sit around and wait for a week plus. First game is going to be Thursday of this week. So tomorrow as the time that I'm doing this podcast. So Thursday, 7 o'clock, the 26th of April at T-Mobile Arena. The Knights have home ice advantage. They're slight favorites, like minus 300 in the series, and that would put the Sharks at about minus 110, plus 110 in the series. So there you have it, and it's going to be a fun matchup. Round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, listen, as an expansion franchise, nobody thought anything like this would be happening at this point of the season, that we'd still be talking hockey in Las Vegas this year with this first-year franchise in the NHL. But it has been the story in the NHL this year. Going to be a great goalie matchup. Marc-Andre Fleury in the nets. Got a slight advantage, certainly, to the Knights on this one. He's got 3 cups already. Going for another one this year. Martin Jones in the nets for the Sharks. And he's a great one as well. Had a great series against the Ducks. So he's at the top of his game. It'll be interesting to see with this first matchup what the layoff does to both teams. They've had pretty much the same number of days. The Sharks have had 1 day less. Pretty much the same number of days with a layoff here. And I don't like what the NHL's doing with this delay. Okay, they could have played this series sooner. Now, I'm not saying start it right away. You've got to pace it to be able to get everybody else on board. The other series going on in the West, now they call it this Western Conference, but not really the West. Neither one of these teams are in the West. But Winnipeg against Nashville, they're in the Western Conference. So those 2 teams are going at. By the way, that's going to be a war between those. Those are 2 great hockey teams, and they may just really battle it out there. So that will be to the advantage of whoever comes out of this Sharks night series. Now, they've got to wait till those series are done to be able to start the next series. I get that you have to delay it a little bit, but not the full time. For example, there was no hockey last night. This series could have started on a Tuesday. Okay? Series, they could have done that. They're not going to get too far ahead of the game if there's another sweep. I know that's the NHL's concern, but still, it could just as well go 7 games. This is going to be a hard-fought series. I can't see a sweep by either one of these teams, certainly. But it's going to be a hard-fought game. In regular season, the Knights won 3 of the 4 games. 1 game was an overtime / shootout loss for the Knights. So they had a pretty successful series against the Sharks. Does it mean anything at this point? Well, yeah, it means a little bit. I mean, they match up well against them. They should go into this series very confident. No reason why not to. And the winners will go to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, that sounds just absolutely amazing to think that can happen. Like I said, either against Nashville or Winnipeg. I can't pick one in that series. That series is just that 2 great teams playing very well right now. Winnipeg had a great rush towards the end of the season. And I do like the NHL's playoff format now. They switched 2 or 3 years ago to have more regional matchups in the early rounds of the playoffs. So instead of, okay, for example, they used to do it where the 1 seed would play the 8 seed, and it would progress from there, and they would reseed after every round. So then the 1 seed would play the next lowest seed that's still alive in the playoffs. Okay, so they would do it that way. Instead of that, what they did was they matched up teams in your own division, in the Pacific Division. So that set up the Sharks against the Ducks. That set up the Knights against the Kings and helps develop those regional rivalries. It also helps with travel. A lot of travel involved when you're talking about 4 7-game playoff series, potentially 7 games, to happen if you go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. So it helps with the travel. but it helps develop these regional rivalries. For example, instead of the Knights playing Winnipeg or Edmonton or Calgary or something like that, I know those teams didn't make it this year, Edmonton and Calgary, but instead of those teams early on in the playoffs, they're going to play somebody close to home. They're going to play Arizona. By the way, a good young team, Arizona. Watch them next year, what they do. But you're going to play somebody closer to your own region, in your own division, right around the corner from you, close by, okay? So that, for the reasons I mentioned, works for the NHL. So that being said, the East, I'm not going to talk much about the East in this podcast. Save that for a later day, but what's going on there? There's a Game 7 going on tonight. There is NBA playoffs going on right now, okay? Lakers out, Clippers out. Didn't even make the playoffs. Lakers haven't made it for 5 years. So just that's becoming the new normal. So what will happen? The big thing to watch there, I went down to L.A. for the Kings against the Knights. Went down there and saw a sign, L.A., hashtag L.A., big L, big A, big B-R-O-N, LeBron, wanting him to come down to L.A. So that would be something that, watch that could happen, should happen. Will it be likely happen? He'll leave Cleveland? I don't know, but we'll keep you posted on that one and see what happens. Keep an eye on that with LeBron down there. But we'll check it out, see what happens here. We've got Game 1 coming up. Again, Thursday night at T-Mobile Arena, 7 o'clock start time. It'll be wild. It'll be crazy. Big crowd there for this opening game in round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But that's the way I see it for now. Ron Futrell, thanks for listening, and hope you enjoy the podcast. Tell a friend, let people know about it. Just a nice little daily update to be able to get the latest in Vegas sports. All right, bye for now.